Hey, everybody, this is Damon Johnson, and you are listening to my friends Eric and Jeff on the Nothing Shocking podcast. Come on.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Isn't it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in the Dog Bowl studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any pod catchers. You can like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Tuesday evening at 10 p.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, soon to be coming back to downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for letting us use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Damon Johnson
of the Get Ready.
Yeah, he's got the Black Star Riders.
And a whole host of other bands that he's been a part of, Alice Cooper and
Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy. You name it, he's been in it.
Can't believe the biggest one we forgot, Brother Kane.
Brother Kane, yeah. I mean, who could forget about Brother Kane? With that being said, what a wonderful interview he was.
Yeah. Oh, man, what a blessing. I mean, it was another one of those fun moments of when you get to talk to somebody you've listened to almost all their records.
Exactly.
and you're like, again, one of those almost have to pinch me moments. But
well, what's really going to be cool about this whole ordeal is that Damon's going to be coming on, I believe, next month. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a part 2. So we can go into depth of the new album, and we're going to break it down song by song. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, the new album is Battle Lessons, comes out February 19th.
Yeah, and so if you have not been aware of Damon's new endeavor here, I would suggest that you get on his Facebook, Twitter, any social media accounts that he has. Go onto his webpage and do some investigating, because this album is going to be a rocker.
Yeah, one of the things that happened in between us recording the episode and getting to release it is that he had an acoustic live stream on Veeps.com.
That's right, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, I tuned into that. It was pretty cool. It was, I think it was like $10 if you just wanted to tune in and listen one time. Yeah. I think you had up to 72 hours to play to listen to it, so you didn't have to listen to it right there.
Right.
Time. And what a neat thing! It had some other various level packages where you could actually get for some more money. You could get a CD of the show. It's pretty neat.
So it was available for like 48 hours. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If you bought the ticket, it was like available for 48 hours.
Yes. Yeah. And then they extended it a few days afterwards. It was so people could still dial in. I don't know if it's still available, but you go to Veeps.com, and I think it's Damon Johnson. Veeps.com, but other artists are doing that, so definitely check it out if you have. This was my first time checking out a live stream of band. There's a couple others that I wanted to, I just wasn't available, but so yeah, it's been pretty cool. And then I also, in the interview, I talked about Slave to the System. I did order that CD. In the interview, I said it moved to the top of my want list, and so I just got that actually about 2 days ago, and I've listened to it 3 times already.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? That's a great thing about the Nothing Shocking podcast is that we discover all kinds of cool things about artists, like forgotten projects or certain albums they did that maybe were discontinued and they weren't reissued or something like that. So it's a wealth of knowledge for our listeners to delve into the archives of our guests and find all the cool things they've been a part of.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
All right, on to the interview.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Hello, Damon.
Yeah, man. I'm ready.
All right. Hey, Damon, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Hi, Damon. How's it going? It's an honor to talk to you tonight.
Really good, Jeff. You as well, Eric. Guys, thank you for having me on, man.
Well,
I'm literally stoked about this. It, it's been a bizarre year. Obviously, we'll touch on that a little bit, but I have been sitting on so much excitement about my new record that's coming out, early next year. And, everybody's just been so distracted with things that they should be distracted with. The holidays, the situation with COVID, man, all my musician friends, it's like we're living on Mars these days.
It is surreal.
So it's very cool to have you guys on my schedule and to get to talk to you tonight.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? This has always been a goal of ours to get you on the podcast because we're in Rock Island, Illinois, which is right next door to Moline, Illinois, which you've played at.
Yep, you've played a couple times.
Rascals Live with Kenny over in Moline. We've got to see you play a couple times, so we're really excited to have you part of the podcast.
Guys, that's fantastic. You can imagine how I feel about Rascals and Kenny and Julie. Yeah. Love those guys. Love that venue. And I've been thinking about them a lot this year, more than any other. And I did get to speak to Kenny recently. And, we're both looking forward to when we can all get back in the same room together, man, play some music.
All right. Awesome. Fantastic. So in February of 2021, you have some exciting news with new music, this new album. Please share with us the details and the goods about this new album that we're coming upon.
Well, indeed. I think the official date is the 19th of February. And we are releasing the new album from Damon Johnson and the Get Ready called Battle Lessons. I don't know if the single, which is the title track, I don't know if that has crossed you guys' desk already. I hope it has.
It has.
Awesome. Because, we actually released that on all the digital sites back in November. And, I think that's why I'm looking so forward to the release in February, guys, is because, 2020 and everything about it, man, it is jacked up. Every schedule, every calendar, whatever plan you thought we're going to be locked in, forget about it. It's like, everything is just taking longer. Finishing the recording, getting the artwork done, shooting the video, scheduling this, planning that. So I'm over the moon to have a date on the calendar, and all indications are that we're going to be able to finally get this 9-song opus out to the world.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I saw the video for Battle Lessons. You had like in the studio behind the scenes while you were recording. That was really cool. Can you talk about that?
Thank you for that, Jeff.
Yeah, can you talk about
man, I appreciate that. I was, Nick, I don't know if you guys are familiar with my producer, Nick Rascals. Mm-hmm. He's a legend. He's made so many records. For your listeners that don't know him, they've definitely heard his, the fruits of his labor, either with the Foo Fighters or Alice in Chains or Hailstorm, Evanescence or Rush or Stone Sour. I could go on and on. And Nick and I first crossed paths back in 2015 when he produced what was the second Black Star Riders album, Killer Instinct. And obviously the fact that he lives here in Nashville as well, it was just a perfect scenario of spending so much time together. We became great friends. We had so much music in common. Then our wives became best friends. And so, it's this amazing synchronicity. But it's a thrill for me to have Nick producing this album. It's the beautiful thing about living in Nashville. You have all kinds of friends in the business, players, crew people, management people, publicists, producers, engineers, on and on and on. Nick is world class. And, as great of friends as we are, business is business. And, it's a day I'll never forget because he said, hey, man, let me hear the demos for your next record. And we got together. And, guys, he was over the moon about the demos. I knew I was stoked about the songs, but I wasn't expecting the reaction that he gave me. So it was a great day back in January. Wow, it feels like 5 years ago now. It was exciting for me beyond words to get the reaction that I did from Nick on the quality of the songwriting. And now, he has taken all of his skills and his experience and plugged it into every one of those songs. And I hate to sound cliche, but it's the best record I've ever made. It crushes anything. Look, man, over the course of 3 Brother Kane records, we did some amazing work.
Yeah.
I don't know that we had one record that was as strong from top to bottom as this Battle Lessons record is going to be.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super stoked because I love all 3 of those Brother Kane albums.
Hey, before
Me too.
Before I go to the next question, when you've been talking, you're kind of going in and out on us, kind of like it sounds like you're going hollow. I don't know if it's how you're holding the phone or whatever, so I just want to make sure we get you nice and clear for the rest of the questions.
Oh, guys, thank you for letting me know that. I hope we don't have a bad connection. Typically, this phone is fantastic, so I'll make it a point to keep the microphone on the phone close to my mouth. Thanks for the heads up.
Absolutely. So, September 25th, you released the title track, Battle Lessons. And, a lot of artists now are doing hey, let's release a one-off single before we release the album. What is the methodology and thought process of doing that? You're releasing the title track, 4 or 5 months before the album actually comes out. I guess, what is the thought process? Everybody has different thought processes of doing things. What was your thought process of releasing it so early on?
Well, originally, guys, we had a date in November with a big red circle around it, and that's when we expected to deliver the entire record. And I mentioned some of the delays earlier in our conversation. There's just been so many challenges just getting everything across the finish line. Because, when you go all the way back into the spring and summer, here in Nashville, we had some lockdowns, some shutdowns because of the coronavirus. So it just moved everything back, not just for my record, but for the other records that Nick was committed to work on as well. And, I'm so proud as an independent artist to be able to work with a producer at the level of Nick. And, obviously he's working with me and we're working economically. Let's put it like that. But if he's producing a band like Evanescence, man, that's a major label recording artist with a major label budget. And he's got to make those kinds of projects priority, man. That's how he keeps the lights on in the studio. Yeah. So once we came out of lockdown, Evanescence was kind of standing there ready to go just like I was. So we all kind of worked together to get everybody's work done, but it definitely was a slower process. So in a perfect world, guys, we would have released the single in September, the release date for the album being like 10 weeks later. And then maybe 4 weeks after that, we would have dropped a second song on the digital sites, and then a third song on the digital sites. Many, many, many artists in multiple genres are kind of following that model now. Because, look, you guys know, the business has changed so much. The days of, having this $300,000 promotional budget to work one song and take out billboards in downtown Moline or downtown Chicago, those days are over, man.
Right.
So, you got to use, in my case, I have a small but very passionate fan base. So all I really care about is bringing those people in close and keeping them informed and keeping them, kind of giving them what they want. And, in a perfect world, when the record is out, we could get on the road and tour and grow that fan base. For all the years that I've been around, and thank you again, Jeff, for your comment about Brother Kane.
Yeah.
A lot of people know the names of the bands that I've been in over a damn near 30-year career, but they don't all know the name Damon Johnson. So that was kind of the challenge in front of me when I decided to commit full time to a solo career back in 2018. So, man, I'm up for the challenge, and we're going to continue to follow that model. What I'm hoping is that you'll get to hear 2 or even 3 songs before the actual release date of the full length in February. So maybe that second week of January, for example, we're going to drop a second song.
Nice.
Oh, very cool. When it comes to creative process and when it comes to writing your own material opposed to writing material for the band that you're in, opposed to a solo project or your solo work yourself, how has it changed for you as far as the evolution of writing music, or has it pretty much stayed the same?
That's a great question. And, I kind of look at my career as a songwriter, guys, in sort of 2 sections. Obviously, the 90s was focused on Brother Kane, which was my absolute singular focus. There were no side projects. There was nothing else. We focused on that. And when that band called it quits, we were all kind of exhausted and just fried on the business. So when the phone rang and I got a call to see if I'd be interested in playing guitar for Alice Cooper. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
That's awesome.
The answer is yes. And the answer is, wow, I don't have to take any of the pressure. The pressure's all off of me now. Yeah. I can just wear my leather pants, go on stage every night, rock out, get on the bus, give somebody my guitar. I won't see it again until the next night.
Yeah.
It was like I had joined the circus or I had joined the Rolling Stones, man. It was like, so that's a long-winded way of saying, Eric, I kind of put my songwriting on hold for a while. I wasn't working and actively creating like an artist like I had been for the previous decade,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you move the clock forward into, 2011, I joined Thin Lizzy, and very quickly, that group of guys and I started writing songs, new songs. Man, for a minute, we thought about making a Thin Lizzy record. Somebody got really smart, decided to not call it Thin Lizzy, and we came up with Black Star Riders. And you guys know, yeah, man, those are quality records, and I give a ton of credit to Scott Gorham, Ricky Warwick, for kind of reigniting my songwriting passion, not just my interest in it, but getting passionate about it again, really for the first time in over a decade. So, if it hadn't have been for Black Star Riders, I don't know, guys. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't be making these solo records like I am. But I've never been more inspired or driven, or I have lots to say, and I feel like that tap. I don't see it running out anytime soon. So I'm thrilled, man, to be cranking out these records at the pace that I am.
Fantastic, Jeff.
So when you were playing with Thin Lizzy, what's your favorite song to play live with them?
Jeff, the answer to that probably changes on a weekly basis. I was such a fan. I was such a fan as a kid of Live and Dangerous, which certainly rock fans from my generation, they put that up there in like the top 5 live records ever, with Peter Frampton and Kiss and Queen and UFO, whoever else you want to name. So, there's a couple songs on that record, in particularly Emerald. I love playing Emerald. Never get tired of playing Jailbreak or The Boys Are Back in Town.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Gary Moore's guitar playing in and out of Thin Lizzy. So the Black Rose album is loaded with so many great songs, and I certainly love the title track. It's a very guitar-centric showcase, and I had to do quite a bit of preparation to be able to play that song, before I joined. You guys will love this, man. The very first phone call I got from Scott Gorham, I'd already talked to management. They'd offered me the job. I had accepted. So Scott calls me at home, and one of the first things he says, he goes, "Hey, bud, tell me." Oh, he goes, "We're thrilled to have you in the band, Damon. Tell me, how are your Black Rose chops?" Because, you know what I mean? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That is that's like a Bohemian Rhapsody of guitar songs. So, just a lot of fun, putting in the time to prep something like that, man. And it's an honor for me to be a part of Thin Lizzy.
I kind of want to bring this back to Battle Lessons. I got one more question to ask you. As the recording process goes, especially now during COVID-19, and this goes in with technology too, what is your preference? What was your preference as far as recording this material? Do you embrace the new technology of being able to record parts in your own home wherever you want to, or did the band get together in the studio and hash it out the old-fashioned way? What was the process like when recording these songs, new songs, that is?
Another great question, Eric. I love making demos at home. I love it. It's part of the process where really and truly I sort of co-produce the song because I'm really focused on the vocals, the vocal melody, the arrangements. So I kind of put all that through my own creative blender before it ever leaves my house and before I play it for the band or before I play it for someone like Nick. But I am definitely committed full-time, full tilt to being in a studio with real amps, microphones, room mics on the drums, guys being able to make eye contact while we're playing. There were definitely some instances this year while we were recording that, we had to mask up, man. We had to wear masks and, we didn't have any problem with that. But guys, there's no substitute for that human interaction to capture great performances. You can sit in a room with your computer and, man, I got some great plugins that sound almost as good as my favorite Marshall amp or, my favorite Les Paul. It all works, but it's just not the same. And I just think when you hear the new record top to bottom, I want you to remember that we talked about what we're speaking about right now.
Yeah.
Because when you hear those songs, you're going to go, okay, I see what he's talking about. Because there's plenty of bands, man, making cool records, playing Kempers and Fractals and these amp simulators and Pro Tools plugins. And, man, I'm not critical of them for that at all. I just know what kind of recordings speak to me, and I know the kind of records I want to make. And that's, guys in the room together making music.
It's interesting that you say that because we've had many artists on throughout the years, and we ask similar questions like just the one I've asked you, and some of the artists will say, it's just so much easier for us to do it at our homes because if you get us all together in a studio, we're so non-productive. We find everything but what we're supposed to be doing in the studio, and it's refreshing to hear that you enjoy going back the old-fashioned way and hashing it out together as a team instead of everybody kind of drop boxing and emailing their attachments to each other to create something like that, which is more common now than ever than it is the getting into the studio. Agree?
Well, again, I don't have any criticism to those artists or bands or singers, whatever, man. But I'm just telling you, they can't. If there's no substitute for being in a room together. Now, let me say this. I know a lot of current rock records, man, that's part of the sound now. There is a mechanical sound, and the drums are sampled, and everything is perfectly played to a click, and that's cool, man. Again, I get it. There's some of those bands are mega successful, and, good for them. I'm just, I'm not interested in making those kinds of records. I don't want my music to sound like that. when a stranger, I meet someone new and they go, well, man, tell me about your music. What's it like? I say I make modern rock music with classic rock influences.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great description, because when you hear my music, especially this new record, guys, it doesn't sound like Five Finger Death Punch or Korn or Black Veil Brides, or I don't know, man, just name any, contemporary rock band. But it also doesn't sound like the Doobie Brothers or Humble Pie or, an old Aerosmith record. It's got a good blend of the old and the new.
Yeah.
The songs are what's the focus. That's the focus above all, man. Are the songs there? Are they great songs? Because I know we're going to give great performances because we're veterans, man. The guys in my band, they're lifers. They've been playing, well over 2 decades, each of us. So, the playing's going to be great. I know that before we get into it. So, again, I guess that was the thrill for me, knowing that I had some really good songs, knowing that Nick was going to be producing. And he puts us through the paces too, guys. That's an important part of the process.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said, Eric, about working at home, that means you're producing. That means you're making the call on, yes, this vocal is good. This guitar part is good. This is going to work. It's different, man, when you're in the studio with a great producer saying, I need you to go re-sing that. I don't believe what you're singing. Even though you've been singing for 2 hours, he did it to me, guys, 3 weeks ago. He was downstairs working with Evanescence. This is awesome.
Yeah.
He was downstairs working with Evanescence. I'm upstairs in the B room singing. And guys, I sang for like 3 hours. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds great. Nick is going to love this. So I waved at him out, as I'm leaving that night. I said, hey, man, I'll see you tomorrow. He calls me and starts singing the next month. Hey, bro, I checked everything out. A lot of it's real good, but I need you to re-sing that second verse in the last chorus. I'm like, what? But guess what? Guess what? He was right. He was totally right.
Awesome.
You don't get that perspective, man, when you're sitting in your bedroom under the headphones with your laptop singing and playing. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Very,
cool.
very cool perspective. Go ahead, Jeff.
So that was my next question. I have some questions about your band. So you had in 2019 you had Memoirs of an Uprising. Love that opening song, Shivering, Shivering. And
thank you.
And then you got the new one you're working on, Battle Lessons. Is the band consistent from both, or who are some of the members you got playing with you?
Well, my drummer is consistent, Jared Pope. We've been playing music together off and on since 2007, guys. And Jared's just my favorite drummer. And I was thrilled that things worked out to where we could kind of work together. Jared also plays drums for Tom Kiefer, who is my neighbor. Tom is my neighbor over here on the west side of Nashville. So we run into each other at Starbucks, and all we do is talk about Jared.
Awesome.
But my bass player, Robbie Harrington, Robbie's from Texas. Robbie lived in L.A. for a while, way back in the early 90s. Like, he played with Steve Vai for a while. He did a little stint with Richie Kotzen, and I think he even had the Ozzy Osbourne gig for about 5 minutes. But then he transitioned into modern country. And the first time I saw him, he was playing bass for Keith Urban. And we kept in touch. And, again, he's another one of my favorite players. So I guess really the biggest difference from Memoirs of an Uprising is we've kind of downscaled, because we were a 4-piece. We had my buddy Tony Higby on guitar. And now we're just operating as a trio. So the Get Ready in 2021 is Damon Johnson, Jared Pope, and Robbie Harrington.
Oh,
nice.
So very cool. You've been a front man. You've been a part of a supporting cast for some of the biggest names in rock and roll. Do you have a preference in the realm of your artistry? Or is it kind of like 50-50, or do you want to be that front guy? Do you want to be or is being a supporting cast member just as important to you? How does it work for you?
You're asking some great questions, Eric.
Thank you.
I love when you use the word artistry and artist. When I'm playing guitar for someone else, it's their art. I'm playing guitar on their vision and their songs, and that's totally awesome. And, for me to go through the experience with Brother Kane, which we had a lot of highs, way more highs than lows. But, when we called it quits, man, I was burned out on being in the middle, getting all the attention, having to write all the songs, having to do all the interviews. I was fried, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, again, it was such a relief to play guitar for Alice Cooper, play guitar for John Waite. That led to Thin Lizzy. But I guess I'm proud to say that, that little voice in the back of my head started kind of scratching around and saying, hey, man, don't give up on writing. Don't forget you can sing. And, again, having the experience with Black Star Writers, which started as a sideman thing, but it morphed into a full-time band.
Yeah.
So, Ricky and I were doing 95% of the songwriting. And, man, we were having a blast. That guy's a great writer.
Yeah.
He's a great frontman. And so inspiring to work with him. And, honestly, guys, we were spending so much time in other countries, mainly, the UK, Western Europe. Man, I was just gone away from my family so much. And it just dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? I could just start writing. I could get back behind the mic and do my own thing and just, be in North America more, be closer to home. I love playing in other countries, but, man, I've lived my whole life touring and traveling mainly in North America. And so, really and truly, when I started coming to Rascals on kind of a regular basis, that's really about the time, man, the wheels were spinning for me. I'm like, yeah, I see where this could go. I see where I want to go. And I knew I had to do a lot of work, guys. It's been hard work, but it's been good work, quality work. So, it is, the artistry is when I'm sitting down, writing lyrics, guitar in my hand. What do I want to say? What do I want to express? So it feels good, man, to be an artist again. I was an artist in the 90s. I took a long break, and now I'm back, and I don't want to go anywhere else. I think this is what I'd like to do forever. Jeff, I kid around, man, because people are like, well, would you go back to Alice Cooper? No, I wouldn't go back to Alice. I love Alice, and I love that band, but I've done that.
Yeah.
I just want to do my own thing. Now, if Paul McCartney calls, we're going to take that phone call. And, maybe I do go play with Paul McCartney. Yeah. But you know what? Paul's not going to call. He's got Brian Ray. He's got a great band. He didn't need Damon Johnson. So.
Well, hold on here 1 second before I let Jeff take the next question.
Yeah.
Never say never, because I've seen some weird stuff happen. What I would say that would never happen. You just never know. It could happen.
No, you never know, man. And you know what? My wife said something amazing one day. She says, you know what, Damon? These records that you're making as a solo artist, those are going to do way more for your profile and your name out there that maybe you would get a call from Mark Knopfler or from Guns N' Roses. I don't know. I'm thinking of big names, but because they want guys that are the real deal, man. And there's no better way for me to showcase my guitar playing than in songs that I'm writing. They're all guitar-based songs. That's what I've written my whole life, basically. So I think she's right. And I think you're right, too, Eric. Never say never. You never know.
You never know. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jeff.
So, doing a little research on you, and I was very familiar with your the stuff we've talked about so far. But I learned about a new one when I was doing some research, and I had not heard this one before. And I listened to 2 tracks, and it's immediately gone to the top of my I gotta find it list. "Slave to the System." It had members of Brother Kane and Queensryche. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I'd be happy to, Jeff. I love that band. I love that record, that group of songs. That was another sort of creative zenith. Lots of credit to Kelly Gray. I met Kelly in '97 through my friends in Candlebox.
Okay.
Kelly had produced their ginormous record, from '93. The big one that had Far Behind and all those big hits. So Kelly produced Brother Kane's 3rd album, Wishpool, which as a body of work is my favorite of the 3 records we made. And Kelly did an incredible job. Well, we put the record out in '98, and about 6 months after the record got released, he got the call to replace Chris DeGarmo in Queensryche as the guitar player.
Yeah.
Because Kelly went to high school with Jeff Tate and with Eddie Jackson, I think. So all of a sudden, Kelly's in Queensryche. He's hanging out with Scott Rockenfield every day, and he told Scott, he goes, "Man, you got to meet Damon. We write great songs together. Maybe we could do a side project." So that's what Slave to the System was. We spent a lot of time in Seattle in 2000, and we wrote that batch of songs. And it's funny, you guys were talking earlier about making records at home. Because Kelly is such a badass producer, we were able to make that record at his house.
Nice.
Because he had great microphones and he had a place we could set up the drums. So, man, I think about that record a lot, and I'm so proud of the work we did. And so many rock fans bring that record up all the time. And, I just realized something. There's a song on the new Battle Lessons album that Kelly and I wrote together.
Nice.
And it's a song. It's the one song on the new record that is an older song. Everything else on Battle Lessons is stuff that's been written in the last 12 months. But, again, like Eric was saying, I never say never. I would love to do another record with Kelly. Again, guys, now we're getting into, the 2020s. It's like, man, everything is about time management.
Yes, it is.
Managing your time is so hard, and it requires so much focus, man, for me just to be a solo artist now. But again, I would work with Kelly anytime, and I love those guys, and I love the music that we made. I appreciate you asking about that.
Awesome.
Well, speaking of never say never, it wouldn't behoove us not to talk about Brother Kane. And Jeff and I are huge fans of the band. With that being said, I always have a lot of people that'll contact me off of Facebook, and they'll ask me, like, what favorite band or bands that never made a bad album, or things to that nature. And I always say to the people that ask me these questions about, hey, name a band that's never made a bad album. To me, there's 2 bands. One, the Smithereens. I think they've never made a bad album. Number 2, Brother Kane. Just kind of fall right in line. That being said,
wow.
And with that being said, will we ever, I never want to say never, ever see a reformation of Brother Kane in any capacity ever again somewhere down the line? Is it a possibility?
Yes, it's a possibility, because you were the guy that christened the phrase "never say never" in this interview. I gotta back up 1 second, Eric, and thank you for mentioning Brother Kane in the same sentence with the Smithereens, one of the all-time great bands. I'm flattered that you would put us in that category. The other good news towards your question is that all the guys and I have kept in touch for years. We're all great friends. Mm-hmm. And, you know, everyone's still making music in one form or another. You know, when we were together in the 90s, we all lived in Birmingham. Everybody was right down the street from each other. And now geography becomes a real challenge because Scott Collier's in Michigan. I'm in Nashville. Mm-hmm. David is in Huntsville. Roman's in Atlanta. And, you know, everyone's got, besides their musical careers, you know, they've got wives and families, kids and schedules and commitments. And it's just so hard. It's so hard. You know, we did do a couple of shows together, I guess back in 2012 or 13, I think it was. And those were a blast. Those were a blast. And it was great to see everybody. And, you know, man, I play those Brother Kane songs to this day, you know, at my solo gigs. And I play them, one, because the people that know who I am, I believe they want to hear some of those songs. And two, I play them because I love those songs. Mm-hmm. There's some quality stuff in that catalog, man. Oh, yeah. So I guess in a way I'm kind of lucky because I wrote them and I sang them. So I can still sing them. And, you know, the guys in the Get Ready, they love playing that music, and they bring, you know, their interpretation to those songs. It was fun for me to kind of get a different slant on that material.
Well, there's hope.
Yeah. There's hope. Yeah. There's always hope, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff's got one more question. I got one more question, then we'll leave you alone for the night. Deal?
Man, I'm having a blast talking to you guys. I'm trying not to get too long-winded.
No, it's all right.
No, man, you're a great storyteller. All right, Jeff, go ahead. Lead the way here.
Just looking at, I know this is a hard question to address because we're in that state where nobody really knows when things are happening. But when things calm down and we get to go touring again, do you plan on taking these new songs for Battle Lessons and stuff you've got in your catalog out on the road?
Brother, yes. Listen to me. I will never take for granted a tiny, cramped, beer-smelling dressing room ever again as long as I live. I cannot wait to connect that trailer to the back of our van, load up the drums and the T-shirt boxes, and go play anywhere. And once we start playing, I don't want to come home for a while, man. And trust me, I think my wife feels the same way. She's like, look, it's been great. You've been home for 9 months. I love you, but
get out.
You know, let us know when that itinerary hits the email because we want to put it, you know, hang it on the wall by the calendar.
Well, I'm just so glad I got to see Black Star Riders with you in it at a place like Rascals because it's such a the small venue type where it was just us and a handful of people and it was so intimate and it was just like awesome. Those are my favorite shows.
Jeff, that's great, man. You know what, buddy? The thing I remember from that night was the look on Kenny and Julie's face all night. I mean, from note one to the last note of the encore. Those two were just, I felt that joy. The room was filled with that. It was just what a great venue. What a great scene all of you guys have right there in that area. I hate it to sound melodramatic, but man, I really credit those venues up there in Illinois, Little West, that's really what started fueling this idea to be a solo artist. And, I've done a lot of solo acoustic stuff up there as well. And, man, it almost feels like a second home to me now because I've played there so much over the last, 8 or 10 years. I love it.
Well, you got to bring the band back up to Rascals to support this album, man.
I'm excited.
We got to have you back up again.
Guys, it's a done deal. Listen, it's a done deal. Kenny and I are already talking about it, and it'll be really special when things get back rolling again. It'll be very special to get in there and play a show. I look forward to that.
And when you come back to Rascals, Jeff and I will buy you beer. How about that? The deal?
Done. I'll drink that beer. I don't drink a lot of beer, but you know what, brother? I'll drink that one. Count on it. I'm looking forward to it.
Deal. All right.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you, and then we'll leave you alone for the night. And this is more of like a curveball question. So you mentioned your work with Alice Cooper, the Dirty Diamonds album, and I didn't even realize until, probably a few years ago that you were a collaborator and a musician in that band at that time, because I love Dirty Diamonds. I thought it was so original. I put it right up there with $1 Billion Babies myself. It's my two favorite Alice Cooper albums, to be truthful to you. But
wow.
You co-wrote and recorded with Alice Cooper for this album. How did your songwriting and your guitar playing evolve in the recording and the creation of that album? Did it change much, or were you still the Damon Johnson that we always knew beforehand?
Again, Eric, what a great question. And that makes me think of that very first day that we wrote together. You got to remember, the Brother Kane experience was still very fresh to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'd been writing all through the 90s. We had written the Slave to the System record, and I had even started another project with some friends in Birmingham that we were writing for. So, I guess in a way my chops were still pretty good. But what a thrill, what a moment I will never forget to sit at the table, just Alice and I, and he say, "Hey, Damon, you got anything?" I go, "Yeah, I got a couple things. Check this out." And I would start playing and then watch that guy turn into Alice Cooper, the songwriter. It was amazing, like goosebump level stuff for me. I knew him, as Alice, the performer. I knew him as Alice, the husband and father. I also knew him as Alice, the obsessed golfer. We'd done all of that.
Yeah.
But then I got to Alice Cooper, the songwriter, to that experience. And, it was just an honor, man, and a pleasure, to be working with one of the all-time greats and have him get excited about a riff I had. And then for me, with all my singing experience and writing songs lyrically and melodically, to go, "Hey, Coop, what if you sing that line more like this?" Ba da da da. But I threw a melody at him, and to see him get excited about that, oh, guys, I can't even tell you what a thrill! What a thrill!
Yeah.
And he did that. He did that with songs like "Woman of Mass Destruction," the title track, "Dirty Diamond." That's one of my favorite songs on that record, hands down. He and Ryan and I wrote that song, "Perfect." That's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good record. And, the whole thing happened so fast now. I wish I had like some video.
Yeah.
I didn't, I was so kind of dazzled being a part of, writing with him that it never occurred to me as video thing. I wish I had.
Hey, can you repeat that again? You went hollow on us again. Can you repeat just what you said?
Oh, sorry, guys.
No worries.
I said, I wish that I had have taken some video from that time. I was so blown away from having the experience of writing with Alice that it never occurred to me to, bring a video camera and try and capture some of that.
Yeah.
But we definitely got a great record out of it.
Yeah. That was so cool.
Favorite song on that album was "Run the Devil Down." Who wrote that song? Was that you?
You know what? I did not write "Run the Devil Down." That might, the producer on that record was a guy named Rick Boston, who was awesome to work with. That might have been one that he co-wrote. I can't remember.
Oh,
that was a good song.
It's a fantastic song. But darn it, I thought maybe you're the one that wrote it. Darn it. Sorry, I was going to give you all kinds of kudos.
Yeah.
But that's about all we have for questions. You've been a fantastic storyteller.
So much fun.
Oh, it's been a blast. And the crazy thing about it, right before your interview, we had Terry Aluas on from XYZ right before you. And we were like, wow, that was a great storytell. You were right there with him, man. You guys are
I'm not
great.
gonna be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, have to be pinched.
Oh, guys, man, listen, I appreciate you having me on. I hope I hope the audio was cool. Sorry about whatever was up with my phone.
It's just kind of going, at times it was kind of fading in and out, sounding really hollow, and we weren't kind of catching everything. But for the most part, it's good, yeah. So, a couple things before we let you go for the evening. Is there anything that we did not promote or ask any questions to help you promote or plug anything? Is there anything that we missed?
Well, in the spirit of the ultimate promotion, guys, I'm always grateful when people will visit my website. My website looks amazing. There's so much great content on there. I've got a ton of great stuff in my online shop. I don't know when this is what your plans are with airing this.
We usually will air these episodes from the recording time within about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, well, see, we're going to miss talking about the acoustic live stream that I'm doing this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we can still talk about it.
Yeah, well,
what time is it? I'm going to see if I'm free.
Yeah, I'd be grateful if you could, even if you just mentioned it maybe on your socials or whatever. But man, this Saturday, I'm doing, it's the first solo acoustic live stream I've done. I don't think I've done one since way back in the spring. So, but I'm calling it the Holiday Hangout. I'm playing a bunch of songs. It's the first time I've ever played any kind of holiday-related songs. I'm working up a song by John Waite, a Christmas song. Mm-hmm. That Tom Petty Christmas song, I love that one. I'm playing that one for my wife. And but I'm going to do all the Brother Kane. I'm going to play a couple songs off the new Battle Lessons record. Nice. And it's going to be great.
Fantastic. What time is the live stream? What time are you airing it?
Eric, the stream is going to actually be at 4 p.m. on Saturday, and I did that so that the people over in the UK can watch it as well. Now, this platform that we use is called Veeps, Veeps. The cool thing about Veeps is the ticket holder can watch the show anytime for 48 hours. Oh, nice. So if you're not actually tuned in at the time of the actual stream, no problem. You can watch it anytime that's convenient for you. And the link is very easy to remember. It's damonjohnson.veeps.com. Yeah, and man, that platform is great. I'm actually quite honored, man. They've hosted a lot of amazing artists like Brandy Carlisle. Loudon Wainwright is doing one on Veeps. I think Good Charlotte was on Veeps. They've done a ton of artists, so I'm thrilled to be a part of that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So the next big question we have for you is that Jeff and I were discussing this before you called in. We have just felt like we didn't even touch about all the things that we would like to talk to you about. And I know with what's going on with COVID-19 is kind of everything's up in the air right now, but we feel like that we would really like to have you back on again to talk about more of your work, and because we just feel like that just the amount of time that we have. Surface, yeah, we just don't feel like we scratch the surface just to have good conversation. Would you entertain the possibility of ever coming back on the podcast to talk more?
Guys, please. I would love to. My gosh, yes, man.
Fantastic.
I would
Thank
be
you so much.
Listen, if you're down with it, let's circle back to each other. I mean, man, I'd love to do it sooner rather than later, like maybe in March or something like that once the record's out.
That'd be awesome.
Selfishly, I want to get your reaction to the record.
Absolutely.
Because I'm telling you guys, we are here to save hard rock. This record is going to be in your top 10 for 2021. I say that with humility and gratitude. I'm not being braggadocious or cocky, but you watch. Wait and see.
Well, let's do it. So for scheduling purposes, you need me to contact your PR person, correct, to make sure we get it all? Yeah, just go through the girls. They're the best, man. They are. I love Melissa and Michelle. Yes, she is. They're the best. Yep. They're kind of like my house mom. They keep me organized and focused. They're on my payroll. So one of the reasons I've hired them is because they're the best. They're so great, man, at
making sure, because the other thing that'll happen with that, guys, is that I'll be able to tag you in all the reposting, and because I want to bring whatever traffic I can to your podcast and to your socials as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So what I will do is I'll get a hold of Melissa to schedule a part 2.
Guys, I'd love to, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would love to do that, Eric.
I'll be in touch with Melissa in about, I'm going to email her tomorrow to schedule something in March with you. And then we'll have the episode ready for download and streaming in about 2 weeks, and I'll send that to her, and then we'll just touch base then. Does that sound good?
That's fantastic, Eric, and I'll blast it everywhere. We'll try to get some traffic. We'll try to help each other, scratch each other's back with all that stuff. And listen, fellas, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you both have a Merry Christmas and good health to you and your families. And let's get down with some productivity in 2021, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. We want to thank you. You've been a great storyteller. And like I said, we'll be in touch tomorrow to set the part 2, and in 2 weeks with your episode all ready to go, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome, Eric.
Right.
Jeff, thank you, buddy. Thank you both.
Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, guys. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, man. See you.
they ever take from you, then